The Pareto principle. 20% of your actions will account for 80% of your results. This principle applies to many different aspects of life, including bettering your pickleball game. I hate to say it, but mastering the ATP or perfecting your spin serve isn't what's crucial to taking your game to a higher level. If you want to improve, you need to focus on the key few things that will account for the vast majority of your results. In today's video, I'm going to take you through the top 4 things to focus on so that you can efficiently improve your pickleball game. As someone who's played tennis their whole life, I've had a lot of time to think about what it takes to improve at a racket sport. By applying this mindset to pickleball, I was able to get to a professional level within my first year of playing. If these are the kind of results that you're looking for, make sure to watch till the end, because this information could change the course of your pickleball career forever. The first principle that I want to go over is that while technique is important, having perfect technique isn't the most important aspect to improving. In fact, if you spend too much time adjusting your technique and worrying about it, you'll slow down your progress in the long run. Don't get me wrong, if you just started playing or your technique is super bad, then you should do what you can to fix it. But from my understanding, most players that I see generally have good enough technique to work with. At the beginning of your pickleball journey, you should do your research on what the right technique is on every shot. After you get this down, you should change this technique very little, aside from the little adjustments you make every so often to prevent yourself from developing bad habits. If you're someone that's been playing a while and you feel that your technique is off, you should make all the changes that you feel are necessary. After these are set though, you should make minimal changes throughout the rest of your career. The key is to give yourself a solid base that you can build on. After a certain level of technique, small incremental changes won't make that much of a difference. So master the fundamentals, and once you have them down, only make small changes throughout the remainder of your career. To recap, having the right technique is one of the most important aspects to becoming a better player. But if you worry about this too much, it can take your focus away from the more important things that we're going to go through later in the video. Once you've locked onto the right technique, the number one thing that will make you improve is hitting 1,000,000 balls. This is by far the most crucial aspect to your progress. If you're only playing an hour a week, it doesn't matter how well you know the strategy, how good your paddle is, or that you spent your entire Friday night watching pickleball videos. Just know that the speed of your progress in pickleball will be directly correlated with the amount of balls that you hit. I know it seems obvious, but many people actually overlook this. One of the main things that players also don't understand is that you can't just learn the basic technique and then go and play games the rest of your career. I know it may not be as fun, but if you want to improve, you need to do drills. You see, the amount of intention that we put behind every shot that we hit is one of the main components to how quickly we will improve. When we drill, we give ourselves the ability to isolate one shot at a time so that we can develop the right habits extremely fast. If we hit our 1,000,000 shots only in rec games, sure, we'll still improve, but it will be slower, and we may form bad habits along the way. The question is, how do we drill if we normally only play games? One of the best ways to drill is with one other person. If you want to learn the top 5 drills for 2 people, we'll link you to another video at the end. However, if you don't have anyone to drill with, the best way to drill on your own is to hit against a wall. I'm a firm believer that every pickleball player should have a wall practice routine that they do on a regular basis. Considering most people have a wall at their house, this is also one of the most accessible ways to train. Think, if you hit against the wall a few minutes every day, you're going to hit thousands of more shots per week. And every time that you make contact with the ball, you're subconsciously strengthening the connection between the paddle face and your brain. This is the case regardless of whether you're on the court or training against a wall. The key is that you're being intentional with every shot, which is why I recommend using something like the dink pad for wall drills. The dink pad can also just serve as a motivating tool, as doing drills on a blank wall can be repetitive and boring. If you want to check out the dink pad, we have it linked below in the description. Over time, trust me guys, incorporate a wall routine into your game and you will see crazy results. Either way, just know that hitting more balls will equate to faster progress. If there is one thing that you can take away from this video, it's this. So please take action and add some drilling into your schedule. So now that you're going to hit way more balls because of your new wall training routine, we need to think about what parts of your game you should focus on. More specifically, we need to talk about the mindset that you need to have in addressing your strengths and weaknesses. Before we get into this, I want to consider the different importances of shots in pickleball in terms of how much you should practice them. In my opinion, this is related to how fundamental they are to constructing points and their difficulty. So looking at this list, this is how I think that you should prioritize the different aspects of your game. The key is that you take this list and mold it to your own strengths and weaknesses. If you're a new player and coming from a tennis background, most likely your volleys are great. You probably need to prioritize working on drops, dinks, and the more pickleball specific shots. Or maybe you're a very forehand dominant player and you need to develop a stronger backhand. Either way, what's important is that you understand each part of your game and you work extra hard on your weaknesses to make sure that all of your shots improve in unison. If you seriously neglect any part of your game, then no matter how good you get, your game will always have holes. This will create easy targets for your opponents, and it will make it far simpler for them to develop and execute strategies against you. When it comes to strengths, you should also make sure that you put sufficient time into training these. These shots are how you're going to win points, so you need to make sure that they're going to perform consistently under pressure. As a whole though, the number one part of your game that you should focus on for long-term progress is your ability to move forward and win points from the net. I see so many players that are reluctant to move forward and try to win many of their points with hard drives from the back. This strategy may work when you're just starting out, but as you start playing against more experienced players, you need to be able to move forward and finish off points from the kitchen line. Please, if you're the type of player that doesn't like to move forward in your games, this is your reminder to force yourself to do this when you play. Another highly overlooked aspect of improving is focusing on bettering your movement. Having unbelievably good hands and reflexes at the net doesn't matter if it takes you 5 minutes to get there. And I'm not saying that you need to become Usain Bolt to improve your pickleball game. I'm simply addressing that improving your movement will make a big difference, especially if you're the type of player who struggles in this category. One of the best ways to improve your movement is to incorporate a pre-practice warm-up routine. If you're walking out to play stiff and sore, you're not going to have nearly as much maneuverability, and you're also increasing your chances of injury. Because of this, I recommend that you incorporate a dynamic warm-up into your pickleball routine. Trust me, it'll be worth it. Obviously, increasing your leg strength, your mobility, and losing weight will help your movement too, so you should definitely look into these if you feel like they could help your game. But in terms of immediate benefits, I feel like introducing a physical warm-up is one of the fastest ways to improve your on-court movement. When it comes to developing new aspects to your game, obviously drilling is the best way to pick up new skills. But drilling is limited in that we're not always simulating a realistic situation that we would come across in a game. Because of this, I want to introduce the idea of playing games to improve rather than to win. When most rec players play a game with their friends, their sole intention is to win the game. And this is fine, I get it, pickleball is competitive. But if you're the type of player that wants to take their game to new heights, which I assume you are if you've made it this far in the video, then sometimes you need to force yourself to use new skills that you aren't fully comfortable with in games. This might mean that you won't win these games, but that's totally fine. By developing these skills, you'll win more in the long run. You'll also take your game to a higher level, which will be fulfilling and it will make playing more fun. The perfect example of this is someone who tends to only drive their third shot, playing a game where they tell themselves that they will only use their drop. Yes, you're gonna miss some, but this is the only way that you'll learn to master this shot in actual games. You can take this mentality and apply it to any part of your game. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you can even tell your partner or opponents that you're going to be working on something before the game. Maybe they'll want to work on it too. In my opinion, whenever you're playing a game, you should always be working on something. Sometimes it'll be big and sometimes it'll be small. Either way, this is the mindset that you need to have if you want to change your game for the better in the long run. And if you want to enter our summer giveaway, watch this video to find out how.